Hello. Good. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. Thank you all so much for coming in today. Thanks to the fifth form for coming down promptly from house so we can make a good start. And thanks to all the parents coming in. Today is just an introduction into what the sixth form at Stowe is like and what we offer. I will go through what the key dates are and the plan is going forwards, but this is just an eye-opener. Hopefully you all got my email last week and you could open the link to the sixth form courses guide. In that guide is a lot of the information I'm going to be going over this morning. I'm going to speak first. My name is Tom Elwell. I'm the head of sixth form. I'm then going to hand over to Dr. West, who's the head of futures and universities. And then we've got three excellent Stoics who are going to give you just a brief rundown on what their sixth form day-to-day is like and what their journey has been. I'm going to speak essentially about the academic side. So my job as head of sixth form is to be in charge of the academic life of all sixth formers at Stowe. I also run the tutoring system, which has, of course, a blend between the pastoral in-house and the academics. So in the sixth form, some of you may already have read the courses guide and may know this. Most Stoics take 3 primary subjects and 1 elective. Some people can take 4 subjects. That's absolutely fine. We will always do our best to fit 4 subjects in the curriculum if that's what people want to do. The most common 4th subject is further maths, but there are opportunities to do 4 other subjects. In general, that has to be through the permission by the academic deputy head, Dr. Potter, because 4 subjects is a heavy load. And most universities now don't necessarily need anyone to do 4 subjects to stand out or look good. Having 3 subjects with top grades is probably better. However, if people want to do 4 subjects because they're interested and they want a broader application, then absolutely we will support that. We also run electives, which I will come on to in a little bit. They are extra subjects on the side of the 3 or 4 main subjects that give another string to the bow for most of our applicants when they're looking at universities or careers. Primary subjects can either be A-levels or BTECs. I'll come on later to what the BTEC is and introduce that for people who are unfamiliar. Electives, most of our Stoics take the EPQ. The second most popular is core maths, but there are other options and I will come on to those in a minute as well. So in the courses guide, there are pages for each of these subjects listing the exam board, the content, what is in those subjects, and also there is a whole page on the threshold grades that again I will put up in a second. As you can see, we offer a wide range of subjects from different faculties that allow people to either specialise in one direction or to take a broad brush of subjects across different faculties. There are also the electives at the bottom there, and you can see there is a wide range of extra subjects that people can do as a bolt-on to their main 3. Again, I won't spend too long on these because they're all in the courses guide and the information that you might need is in there. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask at the end of the talk. I should have mentioned after this talk, you are invited to come up to the sixth form centre, and in the sixth form centre, not only is there a light lunch, but there is the heads of department from those subjects which we do not offer at GCSE, we only offer at A-level or BTEC, so only offer in the sixth form. So those subjects may be subjects that you're not as experienced in or you don't have the knowledge of because you haven't done them at GCSE. So there are options to talk to the experts in those subjects as well. So how do we make the decision? I'm going to go through the schedule, threshold grades, and then introduce BTECs so that we're all got as much information as we can. Okay. Fifth form, you have all been sent this email. You all know exactly what dates are coming up. I included this in my email to parents as well, but just to remind you. This is an introductory, and obviously the fifth form have their mock exams next week, their initial mock exams. That is going to be a good bit of evidence for which subjects you enjoy and you're doing well in and which subjects you're finding more difficult, okay? That's not the only way to make a decision, but we offer a lot of other stages to help people make that decision. So at the beginning of January, we'll have a subject fair for all fifth form, and that's where we have all the heads of department from all A-level and BTEC subjects, and the fifth form can go and speak to as many heads of department as they want and find out as much information as they want to. We then have taster lessons for those subjects that we don't offer at GCSE, so fifth form can go in and experience what a typical economics or politics lesson is like. Then we have the initial sixth form subject choices in the beginning of January. Now, some people struggle to make a decision by then, but we will help and support through the tutorial system, and I encourage you, fifth form, to start now speaking to your teachers and your heads of department about whether a specific subject is suitable for you in the sixth form. We take the final decisions in March, just before the Easter holidays. That's just following the fifth form parent-teacher meetings. So parents, you get to talk to the teachers as well and just ask that question, would my son, daughter be suitable for this subject in the sixth form? Okay. So there's a lot of time until we take our really final decisions. The reason we get initial decisions early is just so that we can start to build a timetable for September. We start that in early January, and it helps us with staffing and those sort of things. But that initial choice is not final. We can change, or you can change your choices up until that deadline on the 9th of March. After the 9th of March, we don't make everyone lock. If you do change your mind after that, we will do our best to fit your subjects into a timetable, but by Easter, really, we're looking at having our timetable nailed down so it becomes more difficult, but we will always do our best. Threshold grades. Again, this page is in the courses guide, so I'm not going to leave it up there for too long, but you'll notice that certain subjects have different thresholds. You will see that maths, for example, is an 8, okay? Now that is the highest, and that's because Maths A-level is a very challenging subject conceptually, but it's also because of the GCSE maths grade boundaries. Okay, last year you only needed about 56% to get a grade 7. So getting a grade 7 and then going on to do A-level maths, only having covered, or only having really solidified and expertly covered half of the GCSE course, is setting people up for really struggling in A-level maths. Okay, for a good reason. Maths is our most popular subject in the sixth form. It leads to a lot of different university options. It underpins a lot of other subjects, but for that same reason, we are very selective with how we actually let people onto that course. So if you are interested in maths, think very carefully about it. Other subjects you can see, languages and sciences, also have higher threshold grades than some other subjects as well. Now, it's not because those subjects are easier or harder, okay? It is because the skills required for those are different, and the step up from GCSE to A-level is a big jump as well. So why do we have this threshold? It is to try and get everyone to do subjects that they've already proved they are good at by doing GCSEs in that subject or similar subjects, and to try and navigate people down the path of where their strengths lie. That's because we are looking for everyone to put in a very strong university application, whether that be in the UK, abroad, or straight into an apprenticeship or career. Everyone needs, basically we want at least C grades, but preferably higher. If you're looking at applying to Russell Group universities, then you will need B grades and higher. I won't go on too much about that because Dr. West's going to talk about universities after me. But it also means that in those subjects in the sixth form, everyone in that classroom has chosen that subject because they're interested in it, because they are good at it, they have a proven track record at having the skills, so they are most likely to be able to make the jump. It also means that in that subject, everyone can bounce off each other, and we have that collective ethos of high motivation and hard work. So, for those people who don't know, a BTEC is a qualification that is very similar in respect to an A-level. Universities see it as exactly the same, and they see it as a challenging academic and organisational subject. There is no two-tier system. It is exactly the same in the eyes of the university. We had a pupil get into Durham last year with 3 BTECs and an offer. Okay? So why is it recommended to some pupils and why do some pupils prefer it? That's because it is not a subject that you take learning for 2 years and then you do a terminal set of exams at the end of the 2 years. What you do is modules or coursework, and you can tick those off as you go. So you do either exams or you hand in pieces of coursework and you get marks for them there and then, and you can almost put them behind you and move on to the next. Some people, that method of learning works really well because they can do the qualification in bite-sized chunks. It also means that you do get a chance to retake some of those exams in the upper sixth if you don't do as well as you'd like in the lower sixth. Also, I've put on there, our BTEC results last year were top 10% of the country. We add value to people's projected grades, more than basically 90% of other schools. On the tutorial side, everyone is placed in a tutor group. That tutor group is based by house, and we split the tutor group half lower sixth and half upper sixth. That is to just try and blend the year groups a little bit for social reasons, but also because those in the upper sixth, as you will hear, have excellent advice for those in the lower sixth, and they can speak about what they did in the lower sixth and they can give that advice downwards. Additionally, each tutor will meet with each sixth form Stoic once a fortnight, at least one-to-one, to talk about progress, to talk about future plans, and to go over how best to navigate the sixth form in that different, more independent way of life. We also then give bespoke help with UCAS and career choices in that system, as well as with Ms. Guntner, our careers advisor, and Dr. West, our head of futures. So in the sixth form, the Stoic is very much at the centre of what we do, and we put a big support structure around them. There's me, the head of sixth form, overseeing everything, but then the really key member for parents to think about is that tutor. That will be your first line of communication and your first port of call. We also have experts in international applications, medical school applications, elite applications to Oxford, Cambridge, or even other universities that are becoming just as difficult to get into, like Edinburgh. And we have bespoke advice available. Ms. Guntner is available pretty much every day for Stoics to organise meetings with one-on-one to talk about futures and career. So the support we give is very much based and allied at getting each Stoic individually to where they want to go. We are, as you know, not an academic hothouse. We don't put people through exams they don't want to do. We try and find everyone's strengths, and we try and tailor our system and our programs to those people's strengths and get people to go in the direction that they want to go. We're obviously in the business of getting as many people into the best university that they can get to. And to speak more on that, I'm going to hand over now to Dr. West.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, everyone. Fifth form, you are going to love the lower sixth. We've got everything at Stowe you need, and all you need to do is just reach out and just take it. So last night I had the pleasure of eating some lovely Chinese food in the Blue Room with 16 of our Law Society. Ellis, I do love Chinese food, thank you. And with us we had two university professors who specialised in law, one in constitutional law, one in criminal law, and we debated with one of them the role of artificial intelligence as that last line of defence against nuclear conflict, of all things. I was still able to digest the food, which was wonderful. Those are some of the super-curricular activities that are available in all subjects. And you've got extra clinics, the Quantum Society that's only open to the sixth formers for the sciences, and I've got the slide up there that says supporting competitive university applications. And I encourage all of you to have a look at some of the university course specifications. Look at what they're looking for. They're looking for a genuine interest. And you starting off your personal statement with, I am fascinated from an early age, is probably not the best thing to do. So it's all about context. And having something personal in your personal statement, personal about you, is what the lower sixth is about. The academics are really important. Without them, you can't apply. However, if you presume that all competitive university applications, everyone's got the grades, what's going to differentiate your application? Well, that's you. You're brilliant. What we need to do is just collect that evidence as we go through the lower sixth and get all of it so it's there and presented. I had an old Stoic in the other day, an old Winton boy, not that old actually, and he's just graduated from St Andrews, which is the top business school in the UK. And in his EPQ, I remember him when he was here, and we spoke about a differentiated EPQ. He's really into business and economics, and his topic was the commercialization of asteroid mining. I think that's quite a cool topic. He was genuinely interested in it, but it would have meant that whoever read that in the first couple of sentences, they're going to continue to read your personal statement. And that's what we want for all of you. We want you to all have those personalised personal statements, be that UK application, international, direct application or through UCAS. We want you to have that individual application. We don't want generic stuff that everyone could have just copied off of a website. And that's what the lower sixth is about. So you can see the map of the UK there. There's a couple of popular destinations international. Miss Guntner is very busy. She's got nearly 40 lower sixth at the moment banging on her door asking about international applications. Not all of those will submit, but a chunk of them will submit not only to the US, but maybe Bocconi in Italy, and also through UCAS. So you can imagine the level of care and coordination and planning that needs to happen. And that planning, I think, needs to start in fifth form summer, and just exploring ideas. You don't need to decide on a career quite yet, or a degree, but you can explore ideas. A bit of work experience, a bit of reading, some summer schools. Start reading if you don't already read. Read more if you already read. Also, there's a growing world of apprenticeships at the moment, and there are some very, very good apprenticeships out there. There are also some pretty terrible ones as well. So we will help you navigate that. And those people that are interested in getting a job straight from school, and are mature enough to take that job, you'll probably commit to a 4 to 5 year job, that's what the degree apprenticeships generally are, then we can help you with that. And they're very, very competitive. I saw a degree apprenticeship with Lloyds last year that had a starting salary of over £40,000 at 18 years old, and I'm sure that that would go up very quickly. So those are for some. However, one of ours went to a degree apprenticeship last year. I need to try harder as head of futures, but it was right for them. And we wouldn't want people to go down a journey that isn't right for them and then they drop out and start again. There's a couple of headline figures up there, just some names from last year. This will change because it depends on the individuals. It depends on the courses. It depends on what's going on in higher education at the moment. And you can see our top destinations up there. And even the mighty Oxford Brookes there, the courses that the boys and girls went to generally were business econ related. And if it was business, they're in the top 100 business schools in the world, according to the QS World Rankings. More offers there for the likes of Edinburgh, but what you can't see off the bottom there are things like St Andrews and Bath, which is quite important. And there's not a huge amount of international universities listed there, miss. Clearly not working hard enough, no, because they go elsewhere and lots of our internationals end up at UK universities anyway. So there's a stat for you, which we're proud of. One of my key KPIs from the headmaster is a minimum of 70% of our students to go to top 200 QS. 52% of our students that applied to the UK ended up in Russell Group universities, but St Andrews and Bath, that I've just mentioned, are not Russell Group. And since St Andrews is the second best ranked university in the UK, according to the Times, it's not always about Russell Group. And more importantly, You need to look at specialist courses sometimes. So Harper Adams, for example, will never be at the top of the Times, but they are exceptional for land management, for example. You've also got one of the benefits of being old Stoics. Every single year I will help old Stoics. I've currently got about 18 on my books, and I'm sure some will suddenly want to apply. We've got a wonderful old Stoic network to help with careers and networking and everything else as well. But you've also got that commitment from us to help you with applications after you leave Stowe as well. So I've helped a couple of people with master's applications this year, but it could be course changes, it could be people that just didn't apply in the upper sixth, and then we helped them after a gap year. The longest gap year I've come across so far was 6 years. They had a very good time. And then we helped them to university. But we are here for you. That's one of the big benefits of Stowe, is we will be here for you as old Stoics as well. Front row, which universities are up on the board? The last two pictures. I've mentioned both of them. They're not Russell Group universities. St Andrews and Bath, thank you very much. And if I talk about Bath too much, I do apologise. I was there for 7 years. I've just done a document which I've emailed out to pupils, and I'm sure Mr Elwell can send this out to parents. Every year, and this is so important, yes, really hard to see, sir, sorry. Every year, things change. And if we don't update our knowledge of what's going on in higher education, the employment sectors, then we're not doing our jobs properly. So we can see, just about, maybe, you will be able to when we send the PDF out, the top university in the UK, according to the Times, is the London School of Economics. It's extremely competitive. They take in about 1,500 undergrads per year, and they are academically snobs. And they should be, because they're the LSE. But they're not very good at sports science, because they don't offer it. So we have to choose the right course, the right university for our pupils. St Andrews second, Durham third, and then there's these other ones that are slightly down the rankings, Cambridge and Oxford, and then the mighty Bath. So if you look at the rankings, it's really important when we do this, look at different, there are other rankings by the way, but this was the one that has Bath further up the table. So if you look at them, look at how they measure, please, because lots of the time the university rankings are heavily weighted to research. Now, as an undergrad, I want to work with the best academics. I generally don't care about the research quality as an undergrad. I'll save that for doing a PhD later. So I'm looking for student satisfaction, dropout rates, employment outcomes. All of those, am I going to be happy enough to actually complete my degree and get a minimum of a 2-1, or don't apply to some of the graduate vacancies that are out there? Because there's more graduates that come out of universities than there are jobs. So we're not just getting pupils ready for good grades A-levels and getting to university. We want them to finish it, do really well, have the time of their life, and then go on and to take over the world in their own way. Mr Elwell mentioned about some of the subject specialists that are out there. Here's the current poster, and you'll see some heads of department in there. What we've also got is we've got advice and guidance on how to get through and do very well in the tests. And for UCAT, for example, there's a bit of advice and there's a lot of online testing. So for medical applications, we use a portal called Medic Portal, which is amazing. We've got LNAT. I look after law applications. And we don't do LNAT classes specifically because that's English skills, problem-solving skills, those sorts of things. But there's online resources. We guide, we help, we proofread mock papers, all those sorts of things. But it's all about taking ownership. One of our very good mathematicians looks after some of the quantitative-based preparation. There's a clinic for this every single week. We've got the SATs and ACTs. There's a clinic every week. If any of you want to go to the US or to Bocconi in Italy, then you need to do the SAT. ACT maybe is your preference for the United States. Start in Michaelmas when you join Stowe in the lower sixth, please, and really, really master it. From a medical application perspective, our students focus probably a little bit too much on the work experience. Everyone does the work experience. Let's make sure you do it anyway, but the differentiator will be your test score. Make sure you can do the test well, and we will help you. I thought I'd talk about one of the activities that I have the privilege of working with students with, which is Concord and Victory. You can follow us all on YouTube if you like to, not enough people do. And what happens is our students, our student journalists, will interview professionals in industry, and that's normally at the request of the students. So yesterday, 3 of our students, 1 lower sixth, 2 upper sixth, they interviewed, this is going to go down well with half the room, they interviewed someone who runs a political research consultancy. The chap's an old Grenville lad, and he was the one who did all the research for the Leave campaign. Oh, no one booed, well done, thank you. So that's the sort of interview, which is amazing. Now, the pupils researched the interview questions, they did the interviewing, and all I was doing behind the scenes was just making sure that it recorded, and then I edit it. We don't live stream anything, just in case. But those are the sorts of experiences we have on there. We've got financial literacy program going this year. We've got the normal mentoring stuff you'd expect. And also another popular topic at Stowe was Meat-Free Mondays. So I got in a professor from Brighton and Sussex Medical School to tell us about the psychology behind Meat-Free Mondays. And then our journalist interviewed Holroyd Howe. So these are some of the skills. I won't go through all of them. But you can imagine writing articles with a print edition. We have our photographers, and they get to meet these people either over Zoom, and one of my boys last year did live stream from Los Angeles with a Hollywood director. That's on the YouTube channel if you want to watch that one. That was one of my 3rd and 4th form. Amazing. Maybe one of those 4th form are in the room at the moment because they're in the 5th form. And that's probably enough of me. I'm going to leave that on in the background, and I'm going to pass over to the main event, which is our students, who will speak to about for maybe a couple of minutes each. Thank you.
So my name's Ollie, and I decided to study sports science, business and French. I also did an EPQ. Now, if you're lucky enough to know what you wanted to do at university, you can kind of relate your EPQ to university. So I want to study sports management, so I did my EPQ on a topic relating and that looks into the financial side of sports. So I'll tell the 5th form here that an EPQ does take a long time, but it's really, really good. It's only 1 year as well. So whilst core maths is 2 years, so EPQ is really good. Secondly, if you're lucky enough to know what you want to do at university, it's really good to kind of get early or get on early with internships, apprenticeships, or just work experience. So over the 5th form summer, if you kind of want to, or if you know what you want to do at university, let's say it's business, look into some businesses in London, wherever you are, and just apply. So in 5th form, you can apply for the lower 6th summer just to get ahead of everyone else. These kind of internships does make you stand out on your UCAS personal statement, because all the admissions people, they don't know who you are. So just having stuff that makes you different and that kind of turns their head will just really help. In lower 6th, I went to the Romania schools trip, and that is kind of with the school, and you go to Romania and help out with kind of kids that are struggling over there. This trip, first of all, helps kind of broaden your horizon and also makes you learn so many valuable skills. You can all of these add into kind of your personal statement, which kind of just always makes you stand out. And that's kind of the message I'm trying to get across, is you need to stand out. they don't know who you are, and you can get 3 A stars, but they're never actually going to know who you are. So making that personal statement and really reinforcing the personal statement, that's going to just make you the perfect candidate. And lastly, the tutors. So my tutor, Mr. Green, who's the head of history, he's kind of the main person that's helped me get my application across. So you can write your first draft and they will look at it and they know exactly what to do. They've done thousands of these, so they're going to know how to shape it, how to make it stand out, and how to make it just look really good for that university. So as a parent, always emailing the tutors and asking them kind of for help and just to know where your student is or your child, that would just be really good. So, and also just get that good connection with your tutor. So if they're not meeting you, this is for the students, always reach out to them in your sixth form year, because they'll always be wanting to come help you and just make your application better. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Is it on? It's on. Okay, hi everyone. I am Belle. I'm going to talk to you about the 3 different application processes that I went down. So I have applied for 4 normal universities to study drama, TV, film, or drama, TV, film studies, either one. And then I applied for 8 different acting schools as well. So the first thing I had to do is I had to apply through normal UCAS, which is a normal personal statement, and then I had to apply through UCAS conservatoires for acting school. So I had to write 2 different personal statements. And then outside of that, 2 drama schools required me to go completely different and a private application system, so not through UCAS. So basically 3 different personal statements. Personal statements are really, really important, as Ollie was saying. You could get the grades, but they don't know who you are. You've got to make yourself stand out in some sort of way, so a personal statement is really important. The 2 main figures who I definitely needed throughout this whole process are my tutor and my acting teacher. My tutor is a Lambda teacher, so knows all about drama and about your personal statement to get into drama. And she said immediately when I told her that I also wanted to apply to acting school that I needed to get on this early to apply for normal universities, because the rest of my schedule is now filled with self-tapes, recalls, the works. So we got on that really early, and that's really important to get on your personal statements quickly. I sent in all of my applications before half term, which is what Dr. West has been saying to our whole year group forever, is to get your statements and applications in before half term. And then, so I met up with my tutor probably more than most people do. I was always on her tail, always asking for help, and we got them in very early, so now I can focus on acting school. So my drama teacher, who is very experienced with drama schools, applications, the lot. I've been meeting up with him for probably 4 months, most of the study periods that I get, to research the drama schools, to learn different monologues, to just get on top of everything. He told me that you got to get everything in on time, and my main message to you is, if you know what you want to do, use the specialist teachers that you have to your advantage. I was with him during half term, so outside of school time, from 9 in the morning to 6 in the evening, filming self-tape after self-tape after self-tape after self-tape after self-tape. We've got them all in. And now, when I get my recalls, it's usually if I get my recalls, if I'm lucky enough to, it's a 3 to 6 recall audition process. So that's why it was really important that I got my normal university applications in on time, so I have the time to now focus on that. But use your specialist teachers. I've used my tutor and my drama teacher so many times. And if you know what you want to do, don't be afraid of asking for help. They want to help you. They want to do it with you. And it's really good to do it early and use them because they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And I would be in a completely different situation if I did not use them. So that is my advice to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Harrison, and I take maths, physics, and DT for my A-levels. As part of physics, I am in the Science Centre quite a bit, and that means, well, for those of you that don't know the Science Centre, it's the place that sixth form can go and work independently in their study periods, prep time, and break times, and get things done. Through that, I get infinite hot chocolate, which is quite a good benefit. And yeah, it's just a lovely place to work. Across the year, in lower sixth, I did things with Conquering Victory, which is up at the minute. I did loads of interviews, and I was able to develop all these skills, which you can see up there at the minute. I'm not going to go through that, but there's loads. And that's been really beneficial for my personal statement. And I think that's the message that we want to get across today. It's just you want to do as much as you can in the lower sixth, build that brag sheet, and then have everything ready for your tutor when you go and apply. I also did the DOV, and through that, you do volunteering, physical skills, and then you do the expedition. The volunteering, I did Street Child, and through that, I organised the fashion show, and then I photographed it, which was really good for teamwork and team building, communication, all of that, which has gone into my application. Through the physical, I've done loads of running. I've been training for a half marathon, which I did last month for Street Child. And then the expedition we did in the summer. So if you're planning on doing the DOV, I would do that as soon as possible, get things done, plan your time, and then in the summer, we go to Scotland, we hike, and we just have fun. My future plans, I'm applying to mechanical engineering. So that's my goal. And I'm also looking at the degree apprenticeships. So that's something I'm looking at the minute. They open up this time of year. So be ready. You've got to do loads of stuff over the summer. So definitely in fifth form, after you've done exams, get the work experience in because you have all that time. You break up early and you just want to do as much as possible. So yeah, brag sheet, get that done. Send it to your tutor. For Dr. West, I sent all the stuff to him and it took him probably a day to write my, Reference, that's what it is, yes. And yeah, it was good fun. So yeah, my main takeaway is do as much as you can in the lower sixth because you've got mocks in upper sixth. We've got mocks next week and it gets very stressful. So thank you.
Before Mr. Elwell says thank you and goodbye, I just want to tell you about brag sheets. And Harrison briefly mentioned the brag sheet. And what he means by that is all the stuff that you've done, cross-referenced into the course specification of why that makes you suitable and special for that course. And as I was lucky enough, well, I am lucky enough to be Harrison's tutor as well, my tutees write these brag sheets and their references are a dream to write. They're so easy because they need to be contextualised. And if I don't know enough about my tutees or they don't do enough, then it's actually very difficult to write these references in a competitive environment. My experience of Stoics are they do so many wonderful things, they don't always tell us about them. So sometimes the tutor relationship is really, really important. And this is a call out to parents, is if you feel that your child isn't sharing all the wonderful things that they do, you can contact tutors as well and say, by the way, and then that goes into a brag sheet and then we help us with our references as well. And more importantly, I think, going through the lower sixth, it's building confidence. We're building their confidence. We're building independence because when they go to university, they will be abandoned. So it's really important that we help them get ready for university so they're successful. Yeah, I'll pass over to